You know, people often ask me what the secret to wealth really is. They expect a clever formula, a special stock tip, or some hidden strategy only insiders know. They assume money grows because of intelligence, speed, or boldness. After spending a lifetime studying markets, human behavior, and financial history, I can tell you this with complete confidence. Wealth is not built by brilliance. It is built by discipline, and discipline for most people is far harder than intelligence. I was born in 1894, long before financial television, long before social media, and long before investing became entertainment. I lived through market booms that made people feel invincible and crashes that wiped out fortunes overnight. And through all of it, one truth repeated itself again and again. The people who struggled financially were not unintelligent. In fact, many of them were exceptionally smart. The problem was not what they knew. The problem was how they behaved. Most people lose money not because they choose the wrong investments, but because they make the wrong decisions long before investing even begins. They spend first, justify later, and hope the future will somehow fix the damage. They treat money like something that exists to serve their emotions instead of their future. And quietly, year after year, that habit destroys their financial potential. Here is the uncomfortable truth most people never want to hear. Your income does not decide your wealth. Your behavior does. Two people can earn the same salary, live in the same city, and have access to the same opportunities. One will retire with peace and freedom. The other will live with constant financial anxiety. The difference is not luck. It is choice. I watched this play out countless times during my career. Investors who chased excitement lost money. Investors who chased comfort stayed average. And investors who accepted boredom, patience, and restraint quietly accumulated wealth while no one was watching. The market does not reward noise. It rewards consistency. People love stories of overnight success because they are entertaining. But wealth, real wealth, is built slowly and almost invisibly. It grows while you are doing other things. It grows when you are not checking it every day. It grows when you are willing to look wrong in the short term to be right in the long term. That is why so few people ever achieve it. One of the greatest misunderstandings about money is the belief that spending equals living. Society teaches you that upgrading your lifestyle is progress. A bigger house means success. A newer car means you're moving forward. Expensive habits are marketed as rewards for hard work. But no one tells you the cost of those rewards. Not the price you pay today, but the wealth you silently give up tomorrow. Every dollar you spend is not just a dollar gone. It is a dollar that will never have the chance to grow. And when compounded over decades, that lost growth becomes enormous. Most people do not fail financially because of one catastrophic mistake. They fail because of thousands of small, socially acceptable decisions that slowly drain their future. I learned early that money should be treated with respect, not emotion. When you attach your identity to what you own, you give up control. When you learn to separate your self-worth from your spending, you gain power. The market does not care about your feelings. Neither does compound interest. They respond only to time and consistency. There is a reason markets transfer money from the impatient to the patient. It is not because patience is glamorous. It is because patience allows logic to dominate emotion. The average person reacts. The successful investor plans. One lives for today. The other prepares for decades. I never believed investing was about predicting the future. It is about preparing for it. You do not need to know what the market will do next year. You need to know how you will behave when it does something unexpected. Fear and greed are far more dangerous than ignorance, and both are fueled by poor financial habits long before money ever reaches the market. When people feel financially stretched, they make bad decisions. They sell when they should hold. They buy when they should wait. They chase returns because they are desperate. not because an opportunity is rational. A strong financial foundation protects you from yourself. Without it, even good investments can fail. One of the most powerful advantages an investor can have is margin of safety, not just in stocks, but in life. Low expenses create flexibility. Flexibility creates patience, and patience creates wealth. When your lifestyle requires every dollar you earn, you have no room for error. When your expenses are controlled, time works in your favor. I lived modestly by choice, not necessity. Not because I disliked comfort, but because I valued independence more. Financial freedom is not about having everything. It is about not needing everything. The fewer things you require to feel satisfied, the easier wealth becomes. People often confuse frugality with deprivation. They imagine it as sacrifice. In reality, it is selection. You choose what matters and ignore what does not. You stop paying for approval. You stop competing in games that have no winners. You begin using money as a tool instead of a temptation. The market rewards those who can wait. It punishes those who need immediate gratification. And modern society is designed to make waiting feel unbearable. Everything is faster now. Purchases, opinions, trends. But wealth still moves at the same speed it always has, slowly, quietly, relentlessly. If you understand this early, you gain an advantage most people never develop. You stop asking how fast you can get rich and start asking how long you can stay disciplined. That single shift changes everything. And here is where the real twist appears. The greatest threat to your financial future is not inflation, recessions, or market crashes. It is lifestyle expansion. The moment your spending grows as fast as your income, wealth becomes impossible. You may look successful, you may feel successful, but underneath nothing is growing. True wealth is built in the gap between what you earn and what you spend. That gap, invested wisely and left alone, becomes freedom. Close that gap, and no income will ever be enough. Most people never realize this because society applauds consumption, not restraint. You will never be congratulated for what you didn't buy, but your future will reward you for it. This is not about being extreme. It is about being intentional. It is about understanding that money saved is not idle. It is patient. It is waiting for its opportunity to multiply. And when given time, it always does. I have seen fortunes disappear because people wanted comfort too soon. I've seen modest earners become wealthy because they understood one simple truth. Money grows best when it is left undisturbed. If there is one lesson my life has taught me, it is this. Wealth is not created by what you chase. It is created by what you are willing to ignore. And most people ignore the very discipline that could change everything. What most people never realize is that the market is not their enemy. Their impulses are. The market simply reflects human behavior at scale. Fear creates crashes. Greed creates bubbles. And impatience ensures that the majority participate in both at exactly the wrong time. When you understand this, investing stops being mysterious and starts being psychological. I spent decades teaching investors that the biggest risk is not volatility. Volatility is normal. It is the price you pay for long-term returns. The real risk is permanent loss of capital, and that usually happens when emotion overrides discipline. People panic when prices fall, even though falling prices are often opportunities. They feel confident when prices rise, even though rising prices often increase risk. This inversion of logic is the reason most people underperform the very markets they invest in. The irony is painful. The same individual who carefully compares prices when buying groceries will buy stocks without any margin of safety. They demand discounts in everyday purchases but pay premiums in the stock market because everyone else is doing the same. They forget that stocks are not lottery tickets. They are ownership in real businesses with real earnings, real assets and real risks. When you overpay for anything, whether it is a house, a car or a stock, you reduce your future returns before you even begin. price matters. Value matters more, and patience is the bridge between the two. I always believed that an investor should view the market not as a guide, but as a servant. The market exists to offer you prices, not instructions. Some days it will be irrationally optimistic. Other days it will be deeply pessimistic. Your job is not to follow its mood, but to take advantage of it. That requires emotional distance, something most people struggle to maintain. This is where discipline quietly separates winners from losers. Discipline allows you to wait when others rush. It allows you to act when others freeze. It allows you to hold when others sell out of fear. And most importantly, it allows you to do nothing when doing nothing is the smartest choice. Doing nothing is underrated. People feel productive when they trade, adjust, and react. In reality, excessive activity is often a sign of discomfort, not intelligence. The greatest investment returns I have seen came not from constant action, but from long periods of inaction combined with a few well-chosen decisions. Time is the most powerful force in finance, yet it is the one most often ignored. Compounding does not respond to urgency, it responds to consistency. It does not care about your excitement or your fear. It works quietly, day after day, year after year, rewarding those who give it space. But here is the challenge. Time tests your conviction. When markets fall and headlines turn negative, patience feels foolish. When markets rise and everyone around you is getting rich quickly, restraint feels like stupidity. Both moments demand the same response: discipline. I watched investors abandon sound strategies because they became uncomfortable being different. They wanted reassurance. They wanted approval. They wanted results that arrived quickly enough to validate their choices socially. What they did not realize was that markets do not reward social comfort. They reward independent thought backed by rational analysis. Being early feels the same as being wrong. Being patient feels the same as missing out. And that is why so few people stay disciplined long enough to see results. They confuse emotional discomfort with failure. In reality, discomfort is often a sign that you are doing something right. One of the most damaging beliefs in modern investing is the idea that complexity equals intelligence. People assume that sophisticated strategies must produce better outcomes. In truth, complexity often hides risk rather than eliminating it. Simple, well-understood approaches applied consistently outperform complicated systems driven by ego. I always encouraged investors to focus on what they could control. You cannot control markets. You cannot control interest rates or economic cycles. But you can control your savings rate. You can control your behavior. You can control how much risk you take and how patient you are willing to be. This is where personal finance and investing become inseparable. You cannot invest well if your lifestyle leaves no margin for error. You cannot think long-term if every market movement affects your ability to pay your bills. Financial stability creates emotional stability, and emotional stability is the foundation of good investing. The most successful investors I knew lived below their means, not because they lacked ambition, but because they valued flexibility. They understood that freedom is expensive up front, but cheap in the long run. Dependence is cheap up front, but expensive forever. When you reduce your financial obligations, you increase your options. You can wait longer. You can take advantage of opportunities others cannot. You can endure volatility without panic. That advantage compounds just like money does. Many people believe wealth will solve their financial anxiety. In reality, financial habits determine whether wealth brings peace or pressure. If your spending grows with your income, no amount of money will ever feel like enough. If your discipline grows with your income, even modest wealth can feel abundant. I saw people earn more in 1 year than others, earned in a lifetime and still feel insecure. I also saw people with average incomes build extraordinary financial security simply by controlling what they kept, instead of focusing on what they spent. This is the part most people miss. Wealth is built quietly, often invisibly, and usually without applause. There are no announcements when someone chooses not to upgrade their lifestyle. There is no recognition for patience. There are no awards for consistency, but the results speak loudly over time. Eventually, something remarkable happens. The person who was once cautious becomes confident. The one who was once disciplined gains freedom. The one who was once ignored becomes independent. And those who chased appearances are left wondering what went wrong. The market did not fail them. They failed to respect it. If you understand these principles, you stop fearing downturns. You stop chasing trends. You stop needing constant validation. You begin to see investing not as a way to get rich quickly, but as a system designed to reward rational behavior over long periods of time. And once that understanding settles in, your relationship with money changes permanently. You stop asking how much something costs today and start asking what it costs your future. That single question can save you decades. At some point in life, every investor reaches a quiet crossroads. It does not come with noise or headlines. No one announces it. It arrives silently, disguised as a simple choice. Spend now or wait. React or remain calm. Follow the crowd or trust your judgment. Most people never realize how many times they stand at this crossroads because the decisions feel small. But small decisions, repeated consistently, decide financial destinies. What separates those who build lasting wealth from those who do not is not access to information. Today, information is everywhere. It is not opportunity. Opportunities exist in every market cycle. The difference is temperament. The ability to remain rational when others are emotional. The ability to remain patient when others are restless. The ability to remain grounded when others are chasing illusions. I often said that the investor's chief problem, and even his worst enemy, is likely to be himself. Not inflation, not recessions, not bad advice, but the inner voice that demands action when silence is required, and comfort when discipline is needed. This voice is persuasive. It sounds reasonable. It whispers that you deserve more now because you worked hard. It tells you waiting is unnecessary because the future will take care of itself. It assures you that this time is different. It never is. Markets change. Technology changes. Generations change. Human behavior does not. Fear and greed wear new clothes, but they move people in the same directions they always have. That is why the lessons that worked a century ago still work today. And that is why ignoring them remains so expensive. I watched people abandon sound principles because they wanted faster results. They confused motion with progress. They mistook excitement for opportunity. And when reality arrived, as it always does, they were unprepared. Not because they lacked intelligence, but because they lacked patience. Patience is not passive. It is active restraint. It is choosing long-term benefit over short-term pleasure again and again, even when no one is watching. Especially when no one is watching. That is the hardest part. There will be moments when discipline feels lonely. When you are saving while others are spending. When you are holding while others are celebrating. When you are quiet while others are loud. In those moments, doubt creeps in. You wonder if you are missing out. You wonder if caution has turned into fear. You wonder if waiting has become wasting time. This is the test. Most people fail it, not because the strategy is wrong, but because the silence is uncomfortable. Wealth building has long stretches where nothing exciting happens. No applause, no confirmation, just steady, unremarkable progress. And that is exactly why it works. Eventually, time reveals the truth. The person who appeared cautious gains options. The one who delayed gratification gains freedom. The one who ignored trends gains independence. While others remain trapped maintaining lifestyles they can no longer afford. The disciplined investor gains control over their time, their choices, and their peace of mind. And that is the real reward of wealth. Not luxury, not status, not excess. Freedom. Freedom to say no. Freedom to walk away. Freedom to choose how you spend your days. Money is not valuable because of what it buys. It is valuable because of what it protects. It protects your time. It protects your dignity. It protects your ability to live life on your own terms. This is why chasing appearances is so dangerous. Appearances demand constant maintenance. Real wealth does not. It grows quietly, steadily, and patiently, asking nothing from you except consistency and restraint. If you remember nothing else, remember this. You do not need to be extraordinary to build wealth. You need to be disciplined longer than most people are willing to be. You need to make peace with boredom. You need to stop confusing consumption with happiness. And you need to let time do the heavy lifting. The market will test you. Life will distract you. Society will pressure you. Ignore all of it. Focus on what you control. Spend less than you earn. Invest the difference wisely. Give your money time. Repeat. Do this for long enough, and something remarkable happens. Money stops being a source of stress and becomes a source of stability. Decisions become clearer. Fear loses its grip, and the future stops feeling uncertain. That is not luck. That is discipline compounded. And in the end, that quiet discipline is what builds real wealth.